Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And for the first time ever in the almost 12-year history of this podcast, you could watch this episode on YouTube. I'll put the link in our Facebook group if you want to see us. So, and speaking of us, joining us today is Ted and Steve.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Doing good. So, this on this episode,
Is my video showing on YouTube, by the way?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
we're gonna have this on YouTube so people can. So anyway, so this episode we're gonna talk about CM Punk visiting WWE. What the hell happened there? Plus the World Heavyweight Championship that was revealed on Raw this past Monday night. We're gonna talk about the look of the belt and who we'd like to see as its first champion. And we're going to discuss a WWE lawsuit because apparently we can never get away from it. But this is one that's really, really, really bad. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about this brand new show that is starting this Sunday on A&E because, I watch A&E all the time.
Oh, I watch your WWE weekend things.
Because I did not know until a few days ago that Stone Cold Steve Austin has a new show called Stone Cold Takes on America. So A&E put this press release out earlier this afternoon, and I'm gonna read this real quick. A&E is hitting the road with Stone Cold Steve Austin ahead of the premiere of his all-new series, Stone Cold Takes on America. Beginning this Friday, more than 100 life-sized Steve Austin cutouts are hitting the streets in New York City, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Austin, Chicago, and Las Vegas. Fans and passerby who spot Steve can snap a photo with him, share on social using hashtag WWE on AE, access exclusive content from the series, and Steve himself at StoneColdTakesOnAmerica.com, and have a chance to receive a slew of surprises, including t-shirts, koozies, and more. Wow, really? If you'll be
I'm wondering if part of it is the Broken Skull IPA, like a case of Broken Skull.
okay, I don't mean to cut you off. So
Okay.
I clicked on the link, and it says, and I'm not kidding, this area is password protected. Please enter the password below. Here, I'll even show you.
Hey, Bill, can you send me a link to that article?
Look, the area is password protected. Yeah, we could get that sent.
I didn't read that article.
It was basically just a press release. So, hold on, let me get this. There we go. I think it's back to normal. So, yeah, the website does not work at the moment, but
I'm trying to hack into it.
yeah, good luck with that. And then they talk about what he's going to do. He's going to hit the road in his RV, accept challenges from fans that push him out of his comfort zone, and make up for lost time. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to go.
So
Oh.
it's the trailers show that he is going to be doing some stuff at a fast food restaurant, a bowling alley, a bar. He's going to be flying a helicopter. He's going to be driving a fucking race car. So it should be pretty interesting.
Okay, him driving a race car might actually be to his favor because of all the stuff. I'm just fixing my camera. Just for, all the stuff that he's done over the years. So that might not, that might not be a challenge for Steve. The challenge might be him getting in and out of the car. Oh yeah, let me get you that link. Yeah, so should be interesting.
Well, this is also the reason why he did not show up at WrestleMania 39,
Right.
because he was booked several different high profile matches with major fucking money involved, and he couldn't do it.
Oh, okay. So this is why.
Which kind of pissed me off because I would rather see him at WrestleMania 39, but it's a different story.
Yeah, but it could end up being better. You never know.
Well, maybe next year we'll get Lesnar and Austin finally.
Let me, let me.
Get the link?
I'm trying to get. Hold on.
You're just reading it 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know. I will. That was because I'm on the elite page of PW Insider. Let me get it from the regular side.
Oh, you're on Elite Pews. I didn't know that.
You are in the elite.
Where?
Hey, Ted, are you gonna watch the show?
There we go.
What show? Yeah, I'll
What
start.
show?
I'll watch the show. I'll watch the show. I was saying watch the show, but then I was like, yeah, I'll watch the show.
You got the link?
Yep, sending it now.
Steve, please.
All right. So as Steve reads that link and reads the article that is in the link, we do have to discuss transitioning to a more serious topic. And this is one that when I saw it, I wasn't really sure about. But then when I read what it actually is, it's like, holy crap, this could be bad. So, a former writer is suing Vince McMahon. Well, that's not a surprise. Stephanie McMahon and other WWE executives. Brittany Abrahams filed suit against WWE in the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of New York on Monday. She is accusing the company of releasing her after she objected to multiple instances of offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in WWE scene scripts. SmackDown.
Hey, before we get into that,
Okay.
you can't hold on. You didn't really get Ted's response on the whole Stone Cold thing. Kind of skipped over it.
He said he was going to watch.
That's it.
Yeah, I said
I want an
was
actual
watch
thought
it.
of it.
I normally watch the A&E WWE things. I like the rivalry. I like the biography. They're also gonna do that hidden treasures thing. With the Stone Cold, which is an interesting show as well. The Hidden Treasures. So I'll watch it. Especially after the playoffs are on. Yeah, especially after the NHL playoffs.
I think it just pissed Bill off.
All right.
What's going on, Bill?
Okay, so anyway, back to the story of this lady suing WWE. So SmackDown Vice President Ryan Callahan, and that's going to be the name that I'm going to mention in a minute because it is important. Former writers Chris Dunn and Mike Heller, Vice President Christine Lubrano, and writer Jen Pepperman are also listed as defendants. I have on my phone some examples that have been put up on the internet of what she is talking about. So Sean Ross Sapp put this up on Twitter earlier this afternoon. So this is part of the lawsuit, and I'm going to read this to you guys. Ms. Silvers, is that a name that was mentioned? No, it's not. But this is another person that was mentioned. Miss Silvers and Plaintiff, the only black writers on the team at the time, were tasked to pitch a love storyline between wrestlers Aaliyah, Mansoor, and Angel Garza, who are both Muslim, referring to Mansoor and Aaliyah. Miss Silvers and Plaintiff pitched that Mansoor has a secret that he's keeping from Aaliyah. Callahan disagreed with the secret Miss Silvers and Plaintiff wanted for the character. Instead, Callahan suggested, quote, how about his secret is he's behind the 9/11 attacks? Miss Silvers nervously laughed and said, let's not do that. Let's talk about the other part of the pitch. Callahan said, oh, I guess you're the lead writer now. Miss Silvers again laughed nervously and said, for just this moment so we could talk about something else. Following this, whenever a writer asked Callahan a question, he would reply, ask Miss Silvers. She's the lead writer now. Callahan's comments and conduct in this regard were clearly discriminatory, given plaintiffs' similarly situated white Caucasian counterparts were not treated in this manner. Additionally, Heller, this is another person, shared a sexist pitch for a Muslim female wrestler wherein the said female wrestler lacked authority over her mind and body. So,
Well, so this is interesting to me because this lawsuit is a WWE lawsuit that isn't centered around Vince McMahon,
right,
which is
but
once in a while,
he is
lifetime.
named in the lawsuit.
Okay. Well, he wasn't the
He was
main person.
from what I've read, it does not seem like he is the main person.
Yeah, it seems to be that man who said ask Miss Sellers is the main person. As this is an interesting thing. I gotta say, as someone who myself and Bill grew up very close to 9/11 because we both grew up in the DMV area.
Yep.
And as the fact that I was actually good friends with someone who actually saw the smoke from the Pentagon at his high school. I don't think 9/11 is a joke to that extent.
No.
And it shouldn't be told. This is exactly going on. The same. Let me turn my TV off. Sorry, I know you're recording on YouTube now. This is the same situation that WWE went on when they were talking about what's his name? Muhammad Hassan.
Yes.
Muhammad Hassan.
I was just thinking that too.
This is the same situation. In fact, someone who's friends with me vaguely, who also is a big wrestling fan, he posted that Muhammad Hassan is now a very successful teacher, and I was like, well, like he's like, I just don't know, like what, like it's a good story, and I'm like, the reason why Muhammad Hassan got fired in the first place was because of WWE trying to push the narrative that he started 9/11 just like Mansoor.
Right.
And
Well,
to
actually,
be
I did read that I think he's like a principal or a vice principal in a junior high school.
that's a great thing.
That is a
That's a
really great
very
thing.
good thing. That's a very good thing. Especially because of that past. A lot of people may say, "Oh, it's because of you that you got fired." It's not because of him. It's
No,
because WWE tried to push his narrative.
and I do want to get Steve's comments in a minute, but I do want to add on to what Ted was saying. With the Muhammad Hassan character, the character really was he's Arabic in America, and it's like the American people are putting the blame on him and his type for what happened at 9/11. And the character
Yeah,
was working great. And he was going to get this big push towards, I think he was going to get a world title shot. And then the
I think I
day,
remember that. Yeah.
and then the day there was a bombing in London, the day that happened was the same day that they aired SmackDown, and there was a bit where they carried somebody off, carried somebody away as saying like, oh, they sacrificed themselves. And I remember seeing it, and there was even a little description on the bottom of the screen, and that's what killed the character. It wasn't the guy, it was WWE, and to an extent UPN. I blame, because they could have said something, they could have done something that time to be like,
I would agree.
no, we're not going to put that on. But
I
Steve,
would agree.
Steve, your thoughts on the lawsuit?
Yeah, I I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't really have many thoughts on it either.
Okay.
I like Muhammad Hassan. I was a huge fan of. He brought front uh to light a lot of the hypocrisy that America has been facilitating and administrating and creating for a long time. But I don't have many thoughts on this. I really couldn't care less. And what's going to happen? Settle out of court.
Yep.
Almost every lawsuit that WWE has ever fucking dealt with, right or wrong, settle out of court. It's always somebody looking for more money. Yeah.
That's true. Actually, that's true.
All right.
Even back in the '90s when they were doing that whole steroid thing, they settled out of court.
All right. Are you guys ready for another one? Another bad storyline thing?
Go ahead, Bill.
All right. This is from the lawsuit. Now, remember a couple years ago when Apollo Crews got his big push and he ended up winning the Intercontinental title and is, Nigerian heritage. Well, according to the lawsuit, WWE forced Apollo Crews to speak with a Nigerian accent just because of his Nigerian lineage. The plaintiff emailed Ryan Callahan and complained about the offensive nature of the requirement for Apollo Crews to speak with a stereotypical and exaggerated Nigerian accent. However, despite plaintiff's complaint, Callahan failed and or refused to take corrective action, and as a result, Callahan and WWE forced plaintiff to require Apollo Crews to speak with a racially artificial Nigerian accent.
Where's the fur of this one?
I mean, I remember that gimmick. I do remember
I do too.
the gimmick. And
I don't remember that at all.
I remember it. I remember it.
I guess at the time, because we were going through the pandemic, I never thought about it as, oh, this is, racially offensive. And then when you find this out and, that Apollo maybe didn't want to do this gimmick, it's like, okay, I can. Because remember, the match he had at WrestleMania to win the Intercontinental title was a Nigerian drum circle fight match, whatever that was. I don't even remember what it was billed.
Yep. Like a Nigerian drum circle.
Yeah,
fight,
something
yes.
weird.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, Steve, be thankful you.
I apologize, audience. I'll let Bill and Ted
No, be
talk
be
about this
thankful.
one.
Be thankful you didn't see that.
Yes, be thankful you don't remember, Steve. Be thankful.
On
I
this
didn't
one,
remember.
yeah.
I just didn't know.
All right. So, one more. Actually, yeah, one more of a storyline and then an email. So, at one point, the lady that is suing objected to a scene where Bianca Belair was scripted to say, don't make me take off my earrings and beat your ass. Abrahams sent an email to Callahan regarding Belair's scene saying, I know I'm new, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or step on anyone's toes, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Miss Belair's scene includes racial jargon and offensive stereotypes, particularly her go home line. The suit alleges that Belair also objected to the line, telling Dunn 3 different times that I don't want to say that line, but he never listens to me. He puts that line in every week. Belair is also alleged to have said the line would make her sound ghetto. Okay,
I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree. It would make her sound ghetto. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No, Ted, your thoughts? You know more about this than I do.
I would have to say, well, I'm not saying. I think Bianca Belair is right on this. I think it would make her sound more ghetto, and there's a lot. There is a lot of people, of kids who look up to her,
mm-hmm.
and if she said that, that would be bad.
And here's here's the thing for me. Bianca Belair went and graduated from college. She graduated at the University of Tennessee. She is a smart person. And you're going to make her say those lines? I totally agree with Belair. I totally agree with that. And then I did find one more. This one is, well, it might be racially offensive depending on how you look at this. But another idea that WWE writers had was with an Australian wrestler that they used to have. His name is Shane Thorne.
Yeah, I remember Shane Thorne.
So the idea was, because he's Australian, they're going to make him into a crocodile hunter type gimmick. And instead of crocodiles, he hunts people. And he would hunt Reggie for fun and would have him captive in cages, was also discussed. And you wonder why Shane left WWE.
Ted just said everything we needed to know.
Okay. This would be like I forget his name, but you remember the guy in the 90s, Phil? He was like a Cajun. He was like a Australian
Wayne
type
Gretzky?
guy. No.
Was he like an alligator guy?
Yeah, alligator.
Skinner.
Yeah. It's like a mature version of Skinner. And Steve, Wayne Gretzky was fucking Canadian, not.
Okay, actually, that's a good that's a good compare. Okay, as far as
I was
A
gimmick,
fucking
bad
with you,
Skinner,
Jay.
okay?
I
A
was
bad
fucking with
Skinner,
you.
a
I was
bad Skinner,
fucking
a
with you.
bad Skinner. I know you're fucking with me, dude.
okay, of the gimmicks of the hunter, that's a good comparison to it. The only difference is with Skinner, he was like he would just hunt alligators and then he would just do like the moves he did on alligators on people. So that's not offensive.
Yeah,
What
no, I would agree. That's not offensive. This would be a bad
what
hunter.
they suggested here is beyond bad. This would be like one of the worst gimmicks ever.
I think did Reggie leave because of this?
No, he is. I think he's in NXT actually,
Oh, okay.
and maybe for the better. Not because of his abilities, but just because of what they could do with him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. Um, you got anything else to add to that, Steve?
No, you guys are the experts on that one. Let's talk about the best in the world for a minute.
Oh yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, just want to add real quick. WWE racism still exists. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about one Chicago-made punk,
The best in the world.
Chick Magnet Punk, Cookie Monster Punk, whatever CM stands for.
Chicago made punk.
Yeah, I think that is what it stands for.
Cookie Monster Punk.
That was a
Cookie
thought.
Monster Punk does not like Kenny Omega nor Colt Cabana.
Okay, so we've talked about on the last couple of episodes because for some reason people have an interest in Punk still.
He's the greatest of all time, motherfucker.
He is on his way back to AEW. And the report, because I'm not going to say rumor, it's a report, is he will come back when they're in the United Center in Chicago on June 17th. That's a Saturday. AEW is supposed to start a new Saturday night program. And this show is going to be for Punk. So, you know, like the talk's been there. And I want your guys' thoughts on that first. And then we're going to get to the other thing.
Ted?
Okay, another fucking AEW show?
Yeah.
Another weekly fucking AEW show. That's my thought first and foremost. Um, I think WWE when they did shows almost every day, they had the content. I don't think AEW has the content.
They're getting
So what's up?
they're getting there.
They're getting there, maybe, yeah. I still haven't seen their confidential show, but um, yeah. But you know, I I just think um like locker room chemistry is important in wrestling, in music, in sports.
In anything.
Yeah, hell, the fucking Eagles broke up for I think 13, 14 years because they had no they had issues within the band. Yeah, so over a decade they broke up, they weren't doing anything together because there were issues within the band. Which like one of my favorite bands, that's like 70s, 80s, a great band. I love them. Uh, and I think bringing Punk back right now I think it's going to be a lot about it's going to bring a lot of AEW people to other promotions because it this whole CM Punk thing about being about him being a tough person to work with and stuff. It's not a shoot. This is behind the scenes. He mentioned that he hated Colt Cabana. He attacked the Young Bucks. He attacked Kenny Omega. The fact that Kenny Omega is in talks with WWE, a big reason of that is because of CM Punk. He doesn't want to work with him. What what do you think about this, Steve?
CM Punk is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I bought his merchandise. If I had the opportunity, I would have paid to see him wrestle. However, he is not in his prime anymore, and he is creating a toxic environment for those who are in their prime, who are trying to actually make something out of AEW, who are trying to actually build
Would agree.
this into something that, is respected. And, we're trying to take AEW to the next level. And, I couldn't care less if it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. If the name was Stone Cold, who was doing all this shit, it wouldn't matter to me. You're not in your prime. You can't wrestle. You, you know, we're trying to take this to the next level for the love of wrestling in general. The love of wrestling, and we want to go on tour. You want to start having monthly pay-per-views. You really want to make wrestling something that is exciting to watch again and recreate the 90s Attitude Era where you had NWO, you had DX, you had The Rock, you had wrestling was unbelievably popular. The whole roster, the Hardy Boys, Val Venus, X Pac were all making $1 million, a year because wrestling as a whole was accepted. And I was hoping that that was where AEW was taking the industry again. So Punk needs to stay gone. You've already done your thing. You've already destroyed any kind of credibility or respect that you had. Huge fan, but I don't the wrestling industry would be better off without him. He's too toxic.
I would agree.
All right.
I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
back in the day, maybe he was a
He's
great
pissed off.
wrestler to me.
He's pissed off too many fucking people.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have a few thoughts. The first thing, and I'm going to go back to what Ted said, is about a third show. I've said this the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to say it again because I'm going to keep beating a dead horse. It should be quality over quantity.
Let me make a comment about
Agreed.
the third show. I didn't get the comment on that.
Okay, go ahead.
I kind of forgot. My bad.
No, it's fine.
Do y'all know what the third show is going to be called?
Collision.
Collision. I think Tony Khan is spreading himself thin. We don't need a third show. He's already struggling to make Dynamite and the Friday night show a good show. They are struggling in the ratings, aren't they?
I know with Rampage it's not doing good. Dynamite's still being respectable. They're in the the 900s to a million at times, but it's mostly like in the 900,000s. So
Exactly. So Tony is spreading way too thin, but he has a whole roster of wrestlers on contract that he has to actually pay. Like they're on contract, he has to pay them. You know, that was his fault. But you know, I mean, the the third show unnecessary.
I honestly think, and I don't mean to cut you off, Steve.
No, go ahead.
I think the third show is Warner Brother Discovery doing this. I don't think this has anything to do with Tony Khan. I don't think this was his decision.
What network was what network is this gonna be on?
TBS.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think Warner Brothers and Discovery are making this third show happen. If it had been because I remember at one point reading, oh, it's going to be 6 to 8 p.m. I would have been like, that's perfect. You know, do the old WCW time slot when I was a kid. So, but so for them doing it 8 to 10, it just means like, okay, a lot of people probably are not going to be around. It's probably going to be recorded on the DVR. They're not going to get a big rating. Plus, it's a Saturday night. Who really, when it's not a pay-per-view, is going to watch wrestling on a Saturday night in their house? So that's my thought there. That's my first thought.
I would agree. I would agree.
My current lifestyle and situation, I will be watching, but I get your point. The bigger picture, it's everyone's rare day off. It's date night. You know, it's family night.
Mhm.
We're all going off. And we all have family and stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna, you know, it's gonna fail.
So
It might it a Saturday morning show might have been better, like what WCW did back in the day.
I'm down with Saturday morning. That makes
that
sense.
could have
Not to
worked.
interrupt you. Yeah,
Yeah.
but not Saturday night. Saturday night, everyone's fucking busy. You know. Saturday morning. I remember when I was like 13 or 12 years old, I used to watch this WCW like 5 a.m. shows where they had the fucking hotline and
Mhm.
shit. And I even tried to call them one time. I don't remember what happened, but there is a slot for that.
Right. So, okay, so that's my first thought. My
Sorry to
second
interrupt
thought,
you. My
that's
bad.
okay. My second thought is CM Punk said recently he would be willing to work with Omega and the Bucks. He would be willing to talk things over with them about what happened in September last year. If that is to happen, I would love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. And I think
Absolutely.
a million other people would love to be a fly on the wall for that.
I have a therapist. I could give them his contact info and be like, or like I've done mediation in the past. I could be a mediator between the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and CM Punk.
Well, you and Punk would get along great just based on the hockey, but that's another story. Now, I'm going to tell everyone who is listening to this show or is watching this video what I told Steve a couple days ago, and I think I said this to Ted as well, about the whole CM Punk coming back to AEW. To be honest, I'm not excited. And I'll tell you why I'm not excited. It's not because of what happened last September. It's not that. It's not because of, oh, the controversy. The reason I don't feel like this is because I feel like this is more of a guy who is returning from injury more than anything else. When Punk came back 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, that was a big deal because the dude had not wrestled in 7.5 years. That
I
was
remember that.
That was a big ass deal. This time around, I'm like, because
He
he
can't
did
go
have,
anymore. He can't go.
right. Plus, he had the injury that he suffered during the match with Moxley. So my whole thought, and I'm sure there are CM Punk fans that are listening or watching this that are probably going to want to get their pitchforks and torches and want to kill me, but I just don't feel the importance of this return. I really don't.
his overall run sucked. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple of good moments, but for the most part, his run in AEW was disappointing, anticlimactic. Uh, he did not live up to what was hyped anywhere near it.
And what I'm going to say next, depending on who it is, might sound sacrilegious, but he's almost on Ultimate Warrior level of like how other wrestlers despised working with Warrior. Punk is almost on that level. Almost. I'm not saying he is, but he's close. And if he gets to that level, oh boy, we're in for something. But that's my thought on Punk coming back to AEW. Now this would have been the end of us talking about Punk. However, a funny thing happened on the way because CM Punk visited WWE on Monday. So what happened is he was just going to go on a flight from Orlando. He noticed a couple of WWE wrestlers were on the same flight with him. They told him Raw's going to be in Chicago Monday. And Punk decides, okay, I'm gonna come up to Chicago. I'm gonna come up to Chicago and I'm gonna get into the building and talk to people. Well, he met Triple H for the first time in 9 years, and that could not have gone any better because it was pretty peaceful. So he asked Hunter if he could stay in the building. So Hunter went and called Vince because Vince was not there at the time. During the 20 minutes he is in backstage, and I just had to check my phone. In the 20 minutes he is there backstage, he meets up with some people he hadn't seen in a long time, and he buried whatever hatchet he had with the Miz. I don't know what that was about. I'd never heard of it, and if it had been public, I completely missed it. So then, after that all happens, and Punk stayed in the same spot. That's what I've read. Hunter comes back and tells Punk, "I'm sorry, Vince does not want you in here. You've got to leave." And Punk respectfully leaves the building.
Wow.
And then there's a video, it's a short video of him with Tamina Snuka in the parking lot. It's like an 8-second video. You can't hear what they said. So that's what happened on Monday. So, Steve, you're the big CM Punk fan of the three of us. How do you feel about that?
Good question. I think he was just there to say hi, hang out with people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wasn't trying to start anything. He's under contract with AEW. And when he was asked to leave, there was no big deal. He was not, and they didn't have to call the cops. They didn't have to ban from the building. No trespassing charges. He was just there to say hi and make. He talked to Miz. Him and Miz apparently had some issues from back in the day I was not aware of in the first place. He talked to Bobby Lashley and who else was he talking to? Apparently,
a few other people.
Tamina?
Yeah, Tamina. Yeah, so he just there to say hi. I wasn't trying to make a big deal out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not surprised to hear that he was backstage. I kind of expected it. When I heard that they were going to be at the Allstate Arena, I think it's the Allstate Arena, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I heard about that, I was like, I wonder if Punk's going to show up and just kind of say hi to everybody. Punk did not. The whole drama between Punk and Triple H and the WWE was on Punk's side, WWE tried to work with him. Triple H tried to work with him. So I could see WWE bringing Punk back in the future. If you listen to Punk's podcast from years ago, it was clear the the whole beef, the whole drama was Punk, and it wasn't completely unjustified. But yeah, I mean Triple H. Uh, Times change, circumstances change. Uh, Triple H does not hold grudges, and I would like to see Punk, um, for everyone's benefit. No one wants to see Punk on the outs on everybody where everyone hates him. He really was in his prime, one of the best in the world. Uh,
Yeah, I would agree.
Character, promos, everything. It's just I would like to see everyone move from that, and we're all adults. I don't want to see him wrestle again. I mean, he can't wrestle. He's already proved that. He's already almost 50 years old. It is what it is.
I would,
It was the head of security that asked him to leave based on Vince's response, and it wasn't really even an issue with Punk. It was just Punk is not under contract with us. He's with AEW. I think that was the actual issue. Ted, do you have any more thoughts?
I would have to say with what you said, Steve. Add to what you said, Steve, on the on Triple H not holding any grudges. I would have to go back to the Ultimate Warrior when he was brought back into the WWE Hall of Fame. He was nobody was more happier than Triple H. And Triple H back in the day, I haven't seen it, but Bill might have seen it. Triple H and Ultimate Warrior had a match,
WrestleMania
and
12.
it was a pretty bad match. I've heard. So in fact, it was one of the reasons why he got fired. So I I would agree with Steve on that. I think Triple H is very commendable, and he's also I think a very stand up guy and a very a very a very people's person. Like like I like we've seen it a few years ago. I think every wrestling fan has seen it. Uh, um, Triple H and Stephanie being on the Jimmy Fallon show, the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Triple H is singing the I think it's a song called "How Far I Go" from Moana. Um, yeah, and like he's just dad singing the song to his daughters, which is really just on national TV. But he really gets into it, and you see a lot of wrestlers, you see a lot of interviews of trying to be like a man's man, trying to be like all macho and stuff like that. And then you watch something like that, and that's that's kind of what I want to watch when I see a wrestler be on a late night show, because they're not in a ring. They're talking to Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or whatever. Um, and Chris Jericho had the same thing with I think it was Jimmy Fallon as well. They sang a couple of songs together. Jean Claude Van Damme trying to add Jean Claude Van Damme to popular songs like "Can't Touch This." Um, I know I'm stretching. I'm stretching. But yeah, I think he's a real stand-up guy.
Well, I'll say this with with what happened on Monday. I absolutely agree with everybody in here. Punk just came in, said hi. That's all it was.
Yeah,
And for Triple H to talk to him, that's very professional of him. That was a very stand-up thing. But the one thing I kept thinking about when Steve was talking, and I think we as fans kind of forget this, is Punk did have a rough childhood growing up with his dad and his mom, being alcoholics and drug users, and he had a tough upbringing. So there are times I think where we see, maybe bits and pieces of trauma from his childhood be shown in real life. And I'm not saying, that's an excuse for Punk, but it's still, we have to remember that at times. But for him to go in, be there for 20 minutes, leave peacefully, you know, maybe he's trying to bury hatchets in WWE, which is possible, which is very, very possible. So Punk seems to be a name that's going to be still on the minds of a lot of people over the next several weeks and months.
Punk's father was an alcoholic, and
Mhm.
that's a big reason, and a druggie, I think. And that's a big reason why CM Punk never drank or did drugs, which was very commendable. I mean, for a long time, I never drank or did drugs, because, like Punk, I grew up in the situation. My sister was an addict, um, and I was like just 4 or 5 years old when this whole thing was happening. Um, so yeah, shouldn't have said that. But anyway, yeah, it's very commendable on Punk.
Yeah. All right. One last topic that we're going to discuss, and the big news really from Monday from Raw is we are going to have a brand new world heavyweight champion. So what's going to happen? The draft starts this Friday night. Whichever brand does not get Roman Reigns, the other brand will be the brand that has the World Heavyweight Championship. And at Night of Champions, which is at the end of May in Saudi Arabia, we're going to have a match to crown a new World's Heavyweight Champion. So I do have two questions, but I kind of want to break them into two parts. So the first part is, when you saw the belt, either it be on TV or pictures of it on the internet, what did you think of the belt, and what do you think of it after a couple of days? Do you like the look? Do you not like the look? Are you in between? I kind of like to hear your thoughts.
Ted,
You want to? Oh, okay, I'll go. Um, I've been open on this. The only championship belt I think I would ever buy would be the Intercontinental title belt. I like the purple lettering. It's it's kind of purple, maybe bluish purple. I don't know. I like the lettering. Um, the only title I would truly consider buying other than that would be this current World Heavyweight Championship belt. It was it really looked nice, and and I I I'm also a fan of it coming back. Um, I think we really do need two world champions. Uh, because like having Roman come to both shows really sucks. A lot of people, I've heard some people talk about how they want Roman off WWE 100%. That's not going to happen. I don't want Roman off WWE 100%. I want to still bring up my number one finger whenever he's on a show. It's just, you know, if he wasn't on each and every show, that would have been great. But yeah, that's my thought. I love the World Heavyweight Championship. I think if wherever Roman goes, I think he should be either the SmackDown Heavyweight Champion or the Raw Heavyweight Champion, and he hasn't be the World Heavyweight Champion. Because calling him the Universal Heavyweight Champion just negates everything.
Right.
It's like going to a Bob Dylan concert and asking him to rap.
Dang, how did you know I wanted to do that? Okay, I'm gonna put in my thoughts real quick. I like the design. I really do. It's not too big. Like, because when we had the original, it was the big gold belt from WCW. They kind of modernized that belt for today, and they made it look like, okay, this is a belt that actually looks cool. And it's kind of funny that we saw this for two reasons. One, this is the 60th anniversary. This week is the 60th anniversary of Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy, being the first WWF champion. That's number one. And number two, the fact that I just did an article on Daily DDT on my top 5 championship belt designs, which you guys can check out. I'll put the link up so you guys can read it. But cheap plug, I know. But
oh no, I'll read it.
But I think, if Roman's not going to be on all the time, and you're going to have this 10 million year long reign as him as champion, you do need to have someone who's going to be there consistently and is going to be the top person. So this is the only thing you can do, because I really don't know if and when Triple H and WWE are going to pull the trigger on ending Roman's run. I know people saying, oh, it should be SummerSlam. Some people are saying WrestleMania 40. I don't know. I really don't know. The main goal is for Roman to get to 1,000 days. Once he gets to 1,000 days, which is going to happen real soon, then they can do whatever they want. But as far as this belt, I really like the design. And Ted, I did want to say this, and then we're going to let Steve talk here. They actually have that belt up for pre-order right now.
I know that.
For a mere $499. So
isn't it $399 as a deal, like a pre-order deal? I thought I read that.
Is it?
But
oh, let me take it.
It's $4.99. It's $4.99.
I thought it was $4.99.
Yeah, it's $4.99.
Okay.
All right, Steve, your thoughts on the belt?
It's a lot better than the last one they had. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. It's not worth $500 fucking dollars. I don't like it. Honestly, I don't like it. It's a lot better than the last one, but still, I don't like it. It is what it is. I don't like it.
All right. Now, go ahead.
I will say, even though I've said I might buy it, I'm probably if I buy a belt, I'm probably going to buy it on a sale, like one of those like holiday sales.
Don't waste your money, dude. If you're really gonna fucking spend all that money on a fucking belt, buy one of the legacy belts that actually looks good, like the Attitude Era belt or the Attitude Intercontinental title belt. Not this piece of shit.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Or is it the Intercontinental title? The new one that Austin, what's his name, was wearing, Austin Theory.
Oh, the US title.
Intercontinental. Oh,
Yes.
the US title, yes.
Yes, that one is a work of art. If you're gonna waste that much money on a fucking belt, buy that one.
If I was to buy another belt, which I'm not really sure if I ever will or not,
You're
I'd
not
have
going
to
to.
get I'd have to get the classic winged eagle belt. From
Oh, are you kidding? That thing is
That's a
fucking
good
ugly.
one. That's a
Oh,
good the
That's
Winged
a
Eagle
good
US
one.
channel belt.
no,
That's
the
ugly.
wing, the WWF title, the one that like Bret
okay.
Hart and
Undertaker, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, they all wore it.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Now I know what title you're
Yeah.
talking about.
They're
Okay.
the ugly ones.
now, now, now we're gonna get into this talk because this was like as soon as this happened, it popped up on social media. Who do you put the belt on? Who gets the first run with the belt? Because I have a few ideas, and I know you guys do as well.
You want to go first, Steve?
Yeah, I expect Seth Rollins. I am hoping for Gunther.
All right.
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
I've got a list. I've got a short list. Cody Rhodes would be number one. Number two would be Sheamus. He's been in WWE for a long time and he hasn't been a champion for a very long time. Three, I would agree with Steve. Seth Rollins would be great. Four, he's in contract disputes right now, but I would have to say, if I were him, this would be a good bargaining chip. Drew McIntyre.
I want Gunther to win. If Gunther wins, that's gonna make my day.
I mean, Gunther is already making the Intercontinental title, I think, more relevant than I'm sorry, I'm holding
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I'm holding that up. He's making it more relevant than I think anyone has in the past 5 or 10 years, maybe even 15, going back to I don't know.
It's a stepping stone for him. His true destiny is a world championship gold. Cody Rhodes, on the other
I
hand,
would agree on that.
yeah, he can go do the IC title bullshit. Fuck Cody Rhodes. I want Gunther to be a world champion.
All right.
He could do the what?
Intercontinental title.
Cody
Okay,
Rhodes can go
he
fuck off with the
doesn't-
Intercontinental title for all I care. I don't care about him. Cody Rhodes is becoming like Randy Orton to me. You know, like fuck him. I don't get the hype. I don't get the appeal. He's overrated. He cannot cut a promo. His character sucks. He's boring as fuck. He's decent in the ring, but Cody Rhodes can blow me for all I care. I want Gunther to be a first world champion.
All right.
What do you say, Bill? Following that,
what do I
Bill?
say? That's a good question. No. In all seriousness.
I'm serious.
No, I know you are. I know you are. Yeah.
Okay, I know you are, Steve. Yes.
Okay.
Fucking Cody Rhodes.
I ended up coming up with 4 names in my head. The first one I did think of right away was Gunther. He was the first one I thought of. But
That would be a good champ.
But like Ted said, he's having this incredible run as the Intercontinental Champion. And he's almost to the point where we could start seriously talking about he could have the record for the longest reign as Intercontinental Champion ever. Like, we're near that territory. As much as I'd love,
He has said in an interview that he wants to main event WrestleMania 40, possibly with the Intercontinental Championship. That's what I think. That's why I think Gunther shouldn't be the first world champ,
right.
because I want to see that. I want to see the Intercontinental Championship headline one of the nights of WrestleMania 40.
But
That would be awesome.
but the thing is, um, Gunther's going to be a world champion. It's probably
I would
not.
agree.
It's probably not going to be Night of Champions because he probably will defend the Intercontinental title, but it's going to happen down the line. So that was the
I would
first.
definitely agree.
So that was the first name I thought of. Then I did think of Cody Rhodes, only because everybody else is going to do it, and it's kind of, it's like you kind of going with the betting favorite, one of the betting favorites. The problem that I would have with Cody being the first world heavyweight champion is he doesn't have a conclusion to Roman Reigns. He has no conclusion. Some people could say the conclusion is he lost at WrestleMania, but he could find a way back. There's money in the bank coming.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It ended poorly. The match ended badly. I would agree that he didn't have a conclusion.
Although Steve probably would think that's the greatest moment in the history of civilization. So, he wants him to blow him. So anyway, so then I go to candidate number 3, Seth Rollins. Okay, Seth's a reliable guy. He when he's champion, he's a good champion. But you're going to tell me that you're going to take Seth Rollins from Logan Paul to a match with Omos at Backlash next weekend to the World Heavyweight title? I'm sorry.
That's a good point.
I just don't see that.
That's a good point. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we could see you.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Dude, your voice is so sexy, man. I love hearing more about it.
Oh my god.
I love hearing your voice.
So then there was one other person that I thought of. No one has said that, or at least no one in this recording has said this name. And I'm going to give you my reasons. Finn Balor.
That's a good one.
2 reasons why Finn Balor should be world heavyweight champion. Number 1,
he banged Kathy Kelly.
Okay, 3 reasons why Finn Balor. Okay, so that's number 1, Kathy Kelly.
That's good. Yeah.
Reason number 2, he never got his run as Universal Champion. Had he not been injured
That's
in
perfect.
that match at SummerSlam, who knows where Finn Balor is today? The whole project.
He was busy.
Exactly.
He was busy. He wasn't wasting his time. He had more important stuff to worry about.
But when he got injured, it robbed us of the chance of him being, a possible top guy. So that's number 2.
Exactly.
True.
Great one.
And number 3, he might be on the best run of his career right now. This last year has been amazing. Think about everything that he's done with Edge to Judgment Day, the match at WrestleMania, the promos he's been cutting as of late. He is right now, I think, at the best he has ever been in WWE. And if you want to shock people and say, we're going to go a complete opposite direction, Go with Finn Balor. I think he'd be perfect.
That would be great.
So, and you know what? I think I'll leave that question up on our Facebook group for our members to answer. Who would you want if you were in charge? Who would you want to be the first world heavyweight champion? Because there are some good options. It just depends on where it's gonna go.
Are they crowning the first world champion on Night of Champions?
Yeah,
It's like a tournament or what?
they have not said. So basically, okay. So let's.
The fact that they're
hold on,
doing
hold on,
this
Ted,
is
hold on, Ted, hold on. Is
Go ahead.
AJ Styles coming back that night?
He has not been medically cleared yet.
Oh, I'd love to
Yeah.
see him. Him and Gunther be
I
great.
would love
That
to
would
see
be
that.
another person. If he was
I would
cleared,
love to see that.
if AJ was cleared, I'd be all for AJ being world heavyweight champion. So there's it just depends on where Roman does not go. So if Roman,
I cannot buy Finn Balor as world champion.
all right,
He's
I'd
a
like
little
to hear your
fucking,
reason.
he's like a fucking midget, dude.
Pff,
Compared to everyone else, Seth Rollins, all the other candidates, it's just unrealistic.
Seth Rollins is not that much taller than Finn Balor.
Gunther would
I
knock
would
his
agree.
fucking
I
head
would
off.
agree.
I mean, Gunther's a giant. He's a monster.
I would agree. Seth Rollins is not that much taller. You're right.
But in all serious,
But he is the drip god, of course.
that's why this draft actually means something now. Because if Roman
Yeah.
SmackDown, if you
Well,
get
it doesn't
drafted to
actually.
Raw,
It
hold
doesn't
on,
mean it doesn't mean anything until after it's done. Because they
right?
could. Vince is in charge.
But if you get drafted to the show that doesn't have Roman Reigns, this is a fresh new opportunity. You could be just like that in the mix. That's how big it is. And
Can I just
they want to
say,
make new stars.
woo?
No,
I'm not just kidding.
no,
I'm just
no.
kidding. I'd love to see him back. I would love to see him back, especially because Chelsea
Zack
Green's
Ryder?
here. Yeah, especially because Chelsea Green's here.
He's
But
not gonna go back anytime soon, dude.
I'm just kidding. I would not want to see him as world champion.
I love
would
seeing
like to
Bill
see
lose
him-
his fucking mind.
I would like to see him back in WWE, just as maybe as his other character. Because I've seen Triple H say I don't want to see Zack Ryder in WWE, but I wouldn't mind seeing Matt Cardona back in WWE.
So then we could watch 8,000 videos of him going to toy stores to buy these toys that he's wasting all of his good money on.
That's true. That's
Was it
true.
Johnny
That's true.
Gargano?
Gargano's not as bad.
I like Gargano.
I like Johnny Gargano. He's a nice guy.
I like Gargano. I thought you meant in the whole toy thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Johnny Gargano. Like he showed up at some fucking Toys R Us the other day and signed a fucking figure and posted on Twitter and first come, first serve.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I know the one you're talking.
I want to look that up. Wow.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
That is a good idea, actually.
I would agree that is a pretty awesome idea.
I want Gunther to be world champion first. He got robbed at fucking WrestleMania.
Who's this? I'm sorry.
Who?
Who got robbed at WrestleMania?
Gunther.
He had the match of the
He
night.
won.
I know.
He had the match. He might have had the match of the year.
He won. He had the match. He had one of the best Intercontinental Championship matches, I think, that was ever at WrestleMania.
Hell yeah.
Oh, anyway.
One of the best matches I've seen in years.
I
Why
want
do
to see
you
him.
think?
I want to see him. I want to see him world champion.
Hey, you know
Yeah,
what? At least Ted, you got to see that after you saw Savage Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. Oh,
yeah.
wait a minute.
There's that.
Hold on, real quick, before we wrap this up. Ted, I don't think I've ever told you this story. I'm going to tell this story on air, and Steve, I think you get a kick out of this too. So, for those that don't know Ted, first off, shame on you for not knowing Ted. Secondly, he admitted to me many years ago, I'm saying many years ago, he'd never seen Ricky Steamboat Randy Savage WrestleMania 3. I couldn't believe it when he said that to me. I was like, you're kidding. You've never seen this match. So when I did an episode of the DK and Bill Wrestling podcast, I had said that Ted had never seen that match. DK, and I kid you not, he got up and left. He walked away from the camera. He could not believe it. It was one of the funniest shits I've ever seen in my life. It was.
I'm sorry, DK. I think we might have been Facebook friends at some point. I don't know. No, we're not. We're not.
You
But
should be. You guys get along good.
yeah. Well, DK. I've watched. I since then I
He
have
has
watched
since
that
seen it.
match.
Yes, he has since seen it. So,
Yes, and it was a brilliant match.
but still, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was unbelievable. I should have died from laughing from that, but
I would have probably died from laughing.
all right. You guys have anything to plug real quick? I'll take that as a no. Go ahead.
Follow Capsite99 on Twitter.
All right.
I don't have anything to
Always.
plug. Thank you for your time, Ted and Bill.
Mm-hmm. I'll just do the quick short version of the plugs. If you got any questions or comments, send an email, wrestlingman@thatwrestlingshow.com. Follow the show on Twitter, Wrestling Show 11, and on Instagram, That Wrestling Show, and join our Facebook group where we have over 500 members on our Facebook group.
And we're trying to migrate over to YouTube and move up in the world. We're
Yeah.
trying to get LA Ned on the show, trying to get some wrestlers on the show. And if I could talk to Bill in private and get this on YouTube, it might actually happen.
Well, we'll see where this goes. That's what I tell my nephews. We'll see where this goes.
But that attitude, it will never happen. I need the ambition. I need the passion. Dude, come on. If you move this over to YouTube, this would be a lot easier to gain a broader audience. Everyone's already on YouTube.
Okay. I'm putting this video up on YouTube. That's a start.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Ted, me and Bill were talking about trying to get this over to YouTube.
I would agree. Putting this on YouTube would be great.
Well, hopefully this will end up being something really good. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, depending on whatever it is you're doing. And we'll talk to you all real soon.
Later, guys.
Later.